Pregame.com.
Welcome back to pregame.tv. I'm your host, Marco D'Angelo. Sans the suit today. It's conference tournament week. I'm joined in studio. Ken Thomson, SportsX Radio. Bryan Leonard, fresh back from spring training, Arizona.
Wait, fresh back from the barber shop. Are you kidding me?
Oh, no.
Unbelievable.
He got his haircut in Arizona.
Wow.
And when I showed up, you should have seen it a week ago. It's had a week of growth. He looked
I didn't know that.
Ken, I thought that I was going to spring training games with Eddie Munster.
Oh, man.
You should have seen his haircut.
That's cold, man. Did he have Wolfie, the little doll?
At least I have a little growth on the top of my head, Mr. D'Angelo.
But, hey, guys, it is conference tournament week, and our resident out of the norm conference, Ken Thomson's going to break down Big Sky Conference, Portland State and Montana. This is what I can tell you about this game.
What can you tell me?
Portland State's 11-9 in the conference. Montana's 12-8. They split regular season. Both won on their home court. Both were single-digit games. Tell me something else.
There you go. That's it?
That's it.
He did his work on this game.
And you, of course, I know you.
I agree with what he said.
Exactly. I knew that was coming. No, I will tell you this. Both these teams are playing very well down the stretch of the Big Sky. Both won 5 of their last 6 games. And I think it's going to be a good game. Again, the games are in Ogden. Weber State won the conference, so home team gets the home court advantage throughout, which I agree with. Now, I don't know if you guys follow a lot of the smaller conferences. I know you don't. But, I mean, when it gets to tournament time, the most bizarre of all was the Northeast Conference with, the Northeast Conference with Vermont. Vermont finishes the number 17-1 in the conference, but the games, the quarterfinal games and the semifinal games, where were they? They were at Albany, home of the Great Danes, who finished 4th. It makes no sense. Now, if you're going to have that site set for the entire tournament, okay. Vermont loses because they play the host school, Albany. Meanwhile, Stony Brook gets past Hartford in the other semifinal. Now, Albany goes to Stony Brook. So the finals are set up with the best record. How does Vermont get screwed? Here's a team that won 18 of 19 games, and they're home because they had to play the host team that finished 4th, that they beat by 30 points and 10 points during the regular season. Most bizarre setup I've ever seen.
Yeah, certain leagues, they play their games where people want to go. Obviously, that's why Las Vegas is so popular.
But so keep it there. Keep the whole tournament there.
Yeah, because of that. Yeah, it's strange. You talked about Ogden, Utah. I've never been there before. I don't know what kind of crowds they bring in there and what teams have an advantage over it, which teams travel well. But, that's what you're getting paid the big bucks for.
Yeah, well, Weber State, they packed their place, and they've had a nice record. And as Marco knows, it's been a 1-2 combo down the stretch over the last 4 or 5 years with Montana and Weber State. They've been 1-2 pretty much in the Big Sky every year.
Well, you know what, Ken? We're going to give you center stage because this is.
That's why I'm in the middle here.
You're in the middle, and look at this tie. He is sporting it for conference tournament week, and you're going to bring that one back next week.
No, I've got several others.
You got several others.
Yeah, I've been. When you call games, and I did that for 8 years with UC Riverside, Long Beach State. You've got a plethora of ties with basketballs on, and hoping that you at least can be involved in March Madness.
Brian's got a plethora of ties with stains on them.
He's got more ties than I have shirts.
All right, this is Ken's free pick. Let's make it official.
And why Bryan Leonard runs down to the laundromat, because it is laundry day for the old Cleveland Indians fan, as you can tell by his attire here today. I'll keep sporting the ties. All right, good stuff. Portland State, Montana, like I told you, both teams playing real well. Both teams have won 5 out of 6 games. And I like this Portland State team. Since they kicked Aaron Moore off the team, and again, he was second team Big Sky last year and was their leading scorer, but he was a cancer. They got rid of him, and the coach is taking care of business, and Portland State has played very well. Now, they struggled in their final home game, but they did get a win in overtime over Idaho State. Meanwhile, Montana, they got their lunch handed to them in their final game at Northern Arizona. But prior to that, just a couple nights before, they went to Sacramento State, and they won handily by 15 points. That was a Sacramento State Hornet team that won 8 of their last 9 games at home, had a 7-game winning streak at home, winning all those games by double digits, 5 of them as a dog. Montana went in there and busted that streak. And then, of course, Sac State closed out with a nice 20-point win in their final game. Montana, led by Kareem Jamar, one of the best players. He and Davion Berry for Weber State are probably the two best players in this conference, but Jamar is solid. He misses his counterpart from last year, Will Cherry, one of the better guards, but this is still a good, solid Montana squad, and they struggled early in the Big Sky, and a lot of people thought, wow, this is going to be a down year for the Grizzlies, but they got it together. They played very well, winning 8 of their last 10, 9 of their last 12, and again, taking care of business in most of their games up until that final debacle over in Flagstaff against Northern Arizona. Along with Jamar, you've got Gregory and DeShields, both guys 12 and 14 points respectively. And looking for Wisner, a pretty solid shooter, a guy that shoots 47% behind the arc and 94% from the free throw line to try and drive the ball to the hole, get fouled because he's automatic there. For Portland State, I called one of their games. In fact, their opening game here against UNLV, I called the play-by-play for Portland State. Got to see that team. They've got some good chemistry there. They've got some young guys. Wiggins stepped up, had a good year. Douglas is a good catalyst, good point guard. And then Gary and Dre Winston, who both missed the UNLV game, are very solid. Gary Winston shoots better than 47% behind the arc, #1 in the Big Sky for the second year in a row. So should be a good game for a while. On the neutral court, I give Montana the advantage. As far as the altitude up there in Ogden, no big deal for the boys from Missoula. They're going to be used to it most of the time. They practice up in that altitude, but also Missoula, the home for Montana, a great home court advantage and a team that plays very well in Ogden, and they've gone head-to-head with Weber State and some nail-biters over the last couple of years. So as much as I see the improvement by Portland State over the last several games, I really like the way Montana's playing, and the more experienced postseason team should take care of business. I figure the line right now is right around 3.5. That's what I saw prior to coming in. Again, this is for tomorrow. On Thursday, we're taping on Wednesday. I expect the line to stay right around there and Montana to win this game somewhere between 8 and 12 points.
All right, as usual, great stuff from Ken Thomson in the Big Sky Conference. Well, at least it wasn't the Summit Conference this week. And
Summit's over. North Dakota State took care of business, but IPFW, I will say this, they covered both games nicely, and what a year for the Mastodons.
There you go. He's just a wealth of information, this guy. All right, we're going to come back next. Bryan Leonard's going to have a free pick. It's going to be on NBA game, Denver at Miami, and maybe we'll share a couple secrets from spring training in Arizona. That's up next on pregame.tv.